Hi, this is Adele, and in today's video, I'm going to show you that you do not need a lot of supplies, you do not need a lot of time to make a fabulous, fun painting. I'm going to show you step by step exactly what I did to get to my result. Just to show you, in the beginning, I started out with these fabulous, wonderful, vintage papers. I found a whole stack of them, and I was going to do a whole series on these. So let's get started. The first thing I did is to take a piece of beautiful old vintage paper that was handwritten on as a background. Instead of starting from scratch when you don't have a lot of time and you don't have a lot of space to work, you're working on a small piece. This is what I did when I was literally outside in all kinds of weather in a barn that did have a roof on it, but the weather went from freezing cold to really hot. So each day I did one section and let it dry overnight, and then did another section. So step by step, I actually went through and created, after 4 or 5 days, 2 finished pieces. So the first step is to glue the paper, whether it's something that you made or something that you find, on watercolor paper or another kind of paper. And that was the substrate. So I used golden gloss gel as the glue. And you can see in several of these photos that I glued it down. And then after I did that, I let it dry overnight, and then I put a piece of tape around the edges because I didn't want to have the paint or any of the markings that I make go into the outside or the frame, so to speak, of the paper. So I put the blue tape around the whole thing. And then what I did is every day I added 1 or 2 things and dried overnight. So the first step that I did was I dropped some of the dots from a liquid golden paint onto it, and then it's kind of thick, so I let it dry overnight. Then the next day I came in and I went all around the paper and made marks with the China marker, a black China marker. And what you're seeing is I did 2 different pieces so that you could see each one. They're related, but and have the same things that I'm going on in each of them, but the composition is different in each one. So it's like a series. And I have a lot more that I did, but I'm just showing you 2 right now. So anyway, so then I dropped those, and then I've done the drops, then I've done the markings with the line, then I went in with some paint. And you can see I'm painting with a paintbrush and just spreading paint around. Then I just a little bit at a time every day. Then the next day, you can tell that I added some neutral to it on each one. Whatever I did on one, I used the same exact color and the same exact technique, but maybe with a different composition on the other one. So I did that on each one and let them dry overnight. Then after I did 4 or 5 layers of things, I pulled the blue paint off, and to me it looked like it needed sort of an edge so that your eye was contained within the watercolor paper. So I took a China marker, a black China marker, and went around the entire piece. I wanted it to be an organic line, so I drew it by hand, not with a ruler, all around the piece. And you can see how I did that, and it made it look really finished to me. And in the final piece, you can tell how with each one, you can see the step, you can see what I did for the final piece and put it on to finish these off. Even though they're paper, I can glue them on a wonderful background to make them look finished. I glued them on a canvas and then put them in a frame, a floater frame, and then there you go. So you do not need a lot of space or a lot of time. Every day, this took me like 4 or 5 days with very little materials that I happened to bring in my backpack. And look at the 2 finished pieces. I really love them, and I hope you do too. So please practice, and just without a whole lot, don't think that you have to have a huge studio or you have to have a whole lot of materials in order to create. Just do it with something simple and fun and easy. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.